make the movies. We didn't make the movies; they exist. Go look
I know
up.
they do.
I was
but
thinking it. I just didn't want to say it. I was like,
Go
special place in heaven.
look up Buttercream Gang.
Special place in heaven.
That is how I learned how to forgive. I learned how to be humble from McGee and me.
no.
I'm telling you, Jeremiah. Make sure you go to Trackstarz.com and get all the latest.
Did you forget?
No, you just went through it. He was like, don't worry about it.
I was thinking about two different things at the same time. I do the rest of it.
No, that's it. That's good. You're good. I won't be here next
Bumbo.
Saturday.
So noteworthy. All right, so this is one I've been skipping over because it's kind of a specific topic. But I think let's do it now. This one says how to impact the world for Christ through comic books. All right, I love your guys' show and the wisdom that you share in segments like Noteworthy. My question does not exactly have to do with the Christian hip-hop world, but I think there are many similarities that could make it possible for you to help me out. I am 19, and ever since I can remember, I have been drawing and creating comic books. Last year when I graduated, I decided to pursue creating comic books as a career. After talking it over with my pastor and mentor, and even reaching out to real working artists. And through many coincidences, I really feel like God is calling me to do this. My question is, how do I impact the world through Christ with a comic book? I don't know if I should make it explicitly Christian, like the main character living out his faith, or if I should approach it like Narnia and Lord of the Rings, where the story is filled with symbolism that points to Jesus, or just make stories that promote godly behavior and ideals. I'm a huge fan of CHH, and I think it's cool how people like Lecrae and KB can make music filled with the gospel still sound good musically and artistically. I just don't know if I can make a good comic book while being explicitly Christian. I just really want to get this right, especially because now more and more comic book fans are becoming atheists and even Satanists, and it's the perfect place to bring the gospel. Thanks. How to impact the world for Christ through comic books. What you think?
I love it. I love the idea, but here would be my challenge to this individual, because you've been doing it for so long, and you said since 19, right?
I think he says he is 19, right?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Since you've been doing it for so long, right, and you are 19, because you're 19, right, then here's my deal. What I would say to you is you can create two comic books, all right, two comic series, one that's seeker-friendly, right, one that just kind of like, this is seeker-friendly for the world. It's more like the, Narnia, right, where it's the overall Christian concepts are interwoven into the overall comic book, and then the other one is just explicitly Christian,
Bible
right?
Man.
And yeah.
Y'all remember Bible Man growing up?
Yes.
I was watching that when I was 19.
I missed it. I missed that whole vibe. But if you do that, then you have two comic books, right? One for like you can just really get explicit as you want, right? And then on the flip side of that, you can just have the other one where it's kind of woven in. And I think if you do that, then you get two things accomplished. Plus, you get to really explore your creative freedom.
I don't know. I would tell him to focus. I mean, I would just say, who's God calling you to? Is he calling you to encourage Christians and build Christians up, or is he calling you to reach the lost? This applies to Christian hip hop. It applies to movies. You have to figure out your God-given target market and then design something that's perfect for that target market.
But I would say this. But we kind of said it like this before. But the Chick-fil-A model works for everybody.
Yep.
They're believers, but they create great food and got great customer service.
Yeah, but Chick-fil-A, there's not Christian stomachs and non-Christian. You know what I mean?
No, but what I'm saying
food.
is if you make great product of movies, film, music, if you're a Christian, it should be like, wow, this was great regardless. I remember
right,
seeing,
but you still got to pay attention to the target market. A really, really good Christian movie is different than a really, really good for anybody movie.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's still a different target. If your target is anybody and trying to pull people into the faith, that's a different target market than talking to Christians that already know what you're talking about and trying to encourage them or build them up or whatever. So I just think you got to figure out because C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, it seemed like their goal was to get people into the faith, that had no desire for it to get interested in it. But other people may be what's another example? What was the one that just came out? Dang, I see it. I see the scenes. I just don't know what it's called.
What?
The guy lost his daughter, and then
The Shack?
The Shack, right? The Shack was written to try and bring people in, like introduce them to a concept they may not want to see. Mm-hmm. But then there's a ton of Christian movies that are designed for Christians, right? So I would say find your target.
I agree. I would say, personally speaking, I would focus more on relating to people and where they are, what they like, and then letting them kind of ask questions from there. Like if you have like biblical ideals, different characters that kind of exude different characters that Christ kind of shows, and then just like, oh, like I like this person, is like, well, the kind of motivation behind that is from Scripture, is from my faith, and then kind of letting people see Jesus through the excellence that he's creating, or he or she, but really just being relatable to people, and then letting them see Christ from that. Because I think a lot of times we get confused. We're like, oh, I gotta say Jesus and everything explicitly, but sometimes God is like, just show compassion for somebody, show relatability to somebody, and let that be the example that I want to present.
Well, here's another thing too. I think the thing is, I know you said everybody kind of said like target or what God put on your heart, but like I think if your heart's desire is to just create a comic book, start there first. Just create, and then come up with ideas. Storyboard it first. Yeah. Come up with ideas and be like, okay, this is about David, or this is about this guy over here, or whatever. You know what I mean? And then honestly, some great ideas to come up with characters would be the Bible. And I'm not talking about like using Bible characters, but using their scenarios, their situations, how they did it. Like if you could literally put King David's story in today's time and just flip certain things about it, but it's still the story of it. But again,
your target matters with that, because if it's a Christian audience, you don't need to mask it. It could just be David. It could be whatever. But if it's a non-Christian audience, you may have to, like with Chronicles of Narnia, the lion was supposed to represent Jesus, and this is supposed to represent that. You do symbols, just like when Jesus was here, he did parables where the king represented God the Father, and this represented you. Yeah, like there's a way to pull people in. So your story is going to be vastly different depending on if the audience already knows what you're talking about, or and even sometimes even with Christian stuff. I used to grow up watching McGee and Me. Do y'all know what that is?
Yes.
McGee and Me was the jump.
Love that show.
And even they used to use.
I got so excited.
You can hate if you want.
I don't know what it is.
Never mind. Show. That's my recommendation. Go check out McGee and Me. And there's another show I used, Odyssey. Odyssey used to be the jump. Adventures in Odyssey. Show. They used to do the same thing where it was for Christians. It was for Christians. For the new school ones, VeggieTales. Yeah. VeggieTales? Okay, there you go. It was for Christians, but they still used parables. They still used scenarios that were not exactly the story, but it alluded to the story. So,
am I not Christian enough? What?
Nope. Adventures in Odyssey, man, that was a jump.
Classic.
McGee and Me, like, I mean, that's why I am who I am today.
McGee like and Me is why you are who you are today.
Like, it speaks to the creative mind. Like, I grew up in the 90s watching McGee and Me, listening on like road trips to Adventures in the Odyssey.
Yep.
You were hearing these like library movies.
I was born in 92.
Were these library movies like on a special channel? Because I never heard of them.
It wasn't on the channel. You had to buy them. You had to,
VHS.
You had to buy these
library movies.
Yep.
Yeah. Church. Oh, okay. They would be at church. They would be at
library movies.
The Christian bookstores, Lifeway.
Yeah. They were dope. Like it really.
Are they still dope today? Like, do you go back and watch them?
Yeah, McGee and Me is dope.
I gotta check that out.
I'm about to YouTube.
Because I grew up on this thing called Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider was the fun.
There's an episode about skateboarding, which is fire.
No, but it was good. It was actually
really good.
It wasn't
What's
a Christian, but
Ghost Rider was that little ghost that was in the computer and they used to talk to him.
Yeah. But it would help you out. Yeah.
Buttercream Gang. Yo, Camille, thank you.
What's Buttercream Gang?
Buttercream Gang is
all
how
this
I
stuff
learned how to
is a Grant
forgive.
household situation.
We didn't make the movies. We didn't make the movies. They exist. Go look
I know
up.
they do,
I was
but
thinking it. I just didn't want to say it. I was like,
Go
special place in heaven.
look up Buttercream Gang.
Special place in heaven.
That is how I learned how to forgive. I learned how to be humble from McGee and me.
no.
I'm telling you, it really taught me how to
type
be.
in anything called Buttercream Gang. On
What was that about? Buttercream Gang. That sounds
my
familiar.
Google search.
It was about this little kid that he had a bully and
You gotta be
somebody
careful with the
challenged.
buttercream. You gotta be
Can't
careful.
Google that.
You can't Google that. You can't Google that nowadays.
It's not the cocoa butter gang.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough. You can find it though. Just filter through. God
But,
bless you.
I guarantee you there's a problem when you type in Buttercream Gang.
Yeah,
I
probably.
It was about
guarantee
this.
you.
It was about this kid that had a bully, and then instead of fighting back, he started loving on him. He started doing things for him, and
Oh,
the kid
gotcha.
just was like, "Why are you doing this?" There's a whole verse about
Okay.
you'll heap burning coals on
Yeah,
their head.
yeah.
It was that whole.
I seen a movie. It was a Christian movie back in the day where this guy was like, he was a good kid, then he went away and came back as like a gang member. Then he started leading the gang. Like, it was like a Christian movie. It was like,
That sound like that's not Buttercream Gang.
I don't know if that's
What
the name of it. He was the guy. He was a good kid at first. He moved away and came back, and he was like ganged out. Like he was a gang, and then he started influencing
That sound
kids
familiar?
he started influencing other kids, and then
Stop
they
making him
came.
a part of his gang.
Yeah, and then something happens where he was like, he realized what he was doing and then changed.
I don't know.
But that was like a Christian movie I saw like
That-
back in the day.
Oh, that wasn't. Okay, let me ask you a question. Buttercream Gang a cartoon?
It's a real action, a
Real.
live action.
So do they have like gang signs or something like that? Like, what's their deal?
No,
How do
Trolling you right
No,
now.
I'm not trolling at all.
Just keep going.
I don't care. I stand behind
I'm
my
not
picks.
trolling. I really just want to know because I have never heard of these
I'm
things.
100%
And
confident in my
maybe
picks.
I'm not.
If you weren't trolling, you would ask these
No,
questions off
maybe,
mic.
no,
If you weren't
no,
trolling.
that's not true. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe I would be a better person had I
You would have.
encountered these things.
You would have.
Yeah, maybe so.
But I think
Great judgment.
honestly,
Great
going back to his question and his what he asking of us. Honestly, when we were growing up as kids,
Camille
all that
said
stuff
it
was
is
like,
that one. Camille said it is that movie.
okay,
That's
okay,
it.
yeah. I
That
was
was it?
saying that, yeah.
yeah, you saw it too.
Told you he
then.
Yeah.
was trolling.
Yeah.
He just put up a gang sign.
What you talking about?
The C, the BC, buttercream.
Buttercream?
He just did.
Nah, they got their own gang sign. I don't have to create it.
That's a mess. But anyway,
this is why people don't get saved.
yeah, that's pretty much.
You're making fun of stuff that's designed to help people.
But here's the
Kill
thing.
No, I'm playing.
Growing up
I
as
want to go see it.
growing up as kids, we had stuff that wasn't Christian, but it was still had a message of
Yeah.
courtesy and
Yeah.
generous and
Care
how to
Bears.
treat other people. You know,
library
something like that.
Care
yeah.
Bears.
The library
Bears.
movies.
Yeah, Care Bears.
No.
The library movies.
Yeah, like
Don't
it
you
was,
dare judge my Care Bears. I'm not gonna sit here and judge Buttercream Gang.
I never watched that.
even G.I.
yeah, okay.
Joe.
Care Bears
Back in the day,
off the
G.I.
chain,
Joe used to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
something at the end like, "Don't do drugs, don't do this, don't do that."
anyway, man.
Only
So,
you can prevent forest fires.
so I would just say,
That was a commercial, right?
honestly, combining all the ideas, start with just drawing what you feel first. And then once you get really good at that and you feel confident that you can
That's
make
amazing.
a series, then start thinking about your target market. If you want this thing to grow and become something big, you have to consider who's gonna be absorbing this and what they need, how they need it to look. And then just work on it, man. Just start
Yeah.
putting out series, keep getting better. We know some other
Yeah,
comics.
yeah,
that
yeah,
do-
yeah. Because I was about to say we know people that's doing that now, trying to get stuff going and stuff. Dealing with a comic book and comic
Oh yeah,
comic
Will.
stuff.
Will Smith's doing that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, he's part of Trackstarz Sports. He's trying to get rid. I think it's I forgot the name of his Deacon. It's Deacon something. I forgot the name of it. I'll tell everybody. I'll share it with y'all later.
All right, man. So let's get back into it. You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tan, and DJ Jeremiah. Let go.
Hey guys, Miracle here. Thank you so much for watching that episode. Make sure you go below, like it, subscribe, click the bell, and make sure you follow us on all forms of our social media. Also, check out our website and be sure you spread the word. We'll see you next time.
We know not what we doing. Screw that, they know, let them have it, do it. Okay, I'm erratic, prove it. Never mind, got a mind that'll wind up with me in a lineup behind bars with these bars. Okay, my time's up.
Team Freedom.
Yeah.
We not through yet.
All right.
Trackstarz Music presents.
Turn my volume up. Turn me off.